Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel where we discuss activity that goes on here with the channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. I want to thank all of you guys here on YouTube as well as New Tech for all of your guys' continued support.
We start things off from the Associated Press. Target becomes latest company to suffer backlash from LGBTQ plus support, pulls some Pride Month clothing. Target is removing some items from its stores and making other changes to its LGBTQ plus merchandise nationwide ahead of Pride Month after intense backlash from some customers who confronted workers and tipped over displays. Now, you would think that if this were happening and if it were as ubiquitous as they're trying to make it out to be here, I would have been able to find something across all of social media. And I spent quite some time trying to find any sort of video, any sort of confirmation of this. Now, I'm not suggesting it didn't happen. I'm just saying that I would have thought that based upon many of these articles that I saw, that there would be at least some examples somewhere of this activity happening that someone recorded, because we know it happens quite often, whether you're on Twitter or Facebook or even YouTube or other areas. Although YouTube is a little bit more stringent about this, you would think I would have found some video somewhere displaying this going on, at least in the most subtle way. Since introducing this year's collection, we've experienced threats impacting our team members' sense of safety and well-being while at work, Target said in a statement Tuesday. Given these volatile circumstances, we are making adjustments to our plans, including removing items that have been at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you see here, the way it's worded by the Associated Press and many of these other articles, it doesn't go directly into what is being targeted. In other words, they don't go into the actual material or items or clothing or concerns that they have. It's just kind of this superficial concept that suddenly, because people aren't in alignment with the LGBTQ products, that suddenly there's this major backlash. These terrible people, these unreasonable, unrational, these protesting type mindset of people, although they aren't included within cancel culture, of course, because that's a totally different mindset. That's completely on the left. So when ordinary, average, everyday people see these things, then suddenly these individuals are violent. But yet we watched, as we go back to one of my favorite images here, we watched for at least 4 months of the most intense violence, the most intense rioting that took place during 2020, and yet this was all mostly peaceful. And the media completely tried to tamp all this down as just being just individuals protesting certain injustices and inequality and this, that, and the other. But this was never considered anything more than mostly peaceful protesting, despite the fact that there were fires and disruptions and people assaulted and even people killed. But nonetheless, there was never the level of attention. And here we are, we're talking about a clothing line at Target, and suddenly it's these hate-filled people roaming around endangering workers at Target. Absolutely absurd. Now here I want you to listen to a little bit of what she says here in this particular news article.
Is Target's Pride collection. For years, Target has carried products celebrating Pride Month, but due to backlash, they've had to remove or pull some of its merchandise. Now, we haven't had any reports of backlash here in the Twin Cities, but a business professor tells me that the company is in a tough spot.
So they're not showing any of the described threats or tipping over of products or anything going on there in Minneapolis. And as I said, I looked several places and I couldn't find anything anywhere across the media. Now, if you guys want to give me some information down below to search for in the comments section where I can find it, by all means let me know, because I've not been able to find it. Now let's get more into, as we narrow this down, as we do here on the BuzWeaver channel, we take the difficult, we take the complicated, we take the tumult, we take the confusion, and try to narrow some of this down to find out what is actually going on. So Target holds emergency meeting over LGBTQ merchandise in southern stores. Oh, so it's in southern stores only. So what about Minneapolis and Los Angeles and other areas across the country? Is that all included in this perspective of it being southern? Some southern Target stores were forced by the corporation to move LGBTQ pride merchandise away from the front of their locations after customer outrage to avoid a Bud Light situation. Of course, we have been covering all of what's going on with Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light here on the BuzWeaver channel by all means. Many Target locations across the country feature massive June Pride Month displays on an annual basis, with items this year ranging from tuck-friendly bathing suits for transgender people to mugs that say gender fluid. Now, that's quite possible, but the reality is, as I've heard some individuals say, is that a lot of this clothing was actually targeted towards children. And of course, my whole argument is that as a grown human being that I am, I have no particular issues with these individuals. I have an issue when they start target children, particularly those individuals when we've seen, for example, at the libraries doing the readings and all this stuff. Why do children have to be involved in this? Why are they trying to target children? Even say, for example, with Dylan Mulvaney and Anheuser-Busch, most of his viewers or most of his followers are young teens and tweens. So in other words, Budweiser was maybe looking for newer customers. We call our customers guests. There is outrage on their part. This year is just exponentially more than any other year. The Target insider continued. I think given the customer situation with Bud Light, the company is terrified of Bud Light situations. Absolutely, and they should be. But now let's get a little bit more focused on this, because like I said, I spent a good bit of time trying to look into this a little bit more in depth to get a little bit more perspective. So let's look at what some of the things that could be causing this outrage, instead of just this superficial idea that Target employees are just being targeted for the simple case of LGBTQ stuff. Target knew of Satanist-inspired merchandise when it partnered with LGBT brands. So designer claims. So now we're starting to see a little bit more focus on what's actually happening. When Target approached the brand Abprellin to design clothing for its 2023 Pride collection, the retail giant was fully aware of the brand's Satanist-inspired merchandise, according to a statement posted on Instagram by the designer. Oh, so now we're starting to see someone actually covering what people might be outraged about, what people might be talking about. Other Abprellin products which were not sold on Target include Satanist imagery and glorified violence against alleged transphobics. Oh, so now we're seeing more of the concern that people had. When I was approached to create products for Target, they told me that my work, such as Satan respects pronouns, wouldn't be a good fit. Wow, really, imagine that. They were observant enough and had the necessary critical thinking skills to realize that my use of occult imagery is as harmless as any horror movie targeted towards adults, but wanted my collection for adults to be a bit less gothic. So here's the idea of them trying to just basically trying to double down and backpedal on what was actually being at the center of attention. So the media continues to not focus directly on what is happening. Either they don't want people to know, or they just want to keep it superficial and have people think about what's going on. But this is the way the media works. They should have immediately gone directly to what was the concern of many of the people. And of course, here we had to go all the way over to the New York Post to see tuck products and these sort of things. But I think a lot of it was because it was directed towards children. These obviously, perhaps for adults, I can't tell the size here to know what the deal is here with this particular bathing suit. See, suits for a minor right here. Social media users were outraged over Target's tuck-friendly bathing suits for minors. So you see how much we have to dig into all these things to be able to find what's actually going on. Because when you start off with the Associated Press, they're all like, oh yeah, all these people are just outraged over LGBTQ products. No, there's specific things about it. So I don't think they even went into the specifics here in this AP report, because of course they kept it all superficial. It was all, oh, look at all the hate and discontent among Southerners, as we saw in the other article, about what's going on at Target. It's absolutely extraordinary. But they are trying to avoid another Bud Light Anheuser-Busch situation here, Dylan Mulvaney that we've covered here on the channel. But it's absolutely amazing how much research you have to look into this just to be able to find some of the things that they're looking for. And I never did find any of the videos, as I said, but if you guys have seen any, by all means, let me know down in the comment section where I can find it, because I'm just curious to see how much of this incredible outrage is going on, as opposed to the mostly peaceful protests that went on actually for quite some time, if not years. So guys, that's what I have for you this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. both on New Tech as well as here on YouTube. You guys have been amazing helping the channel grow, particularly now that we are re-monetized on YouTube, so everything seems to be falling back into place. Of course, below this video, you can find the various Amazon links as well. If you're a Prime member or order frequently from Amazon, be sure to use any of the links there to the landing page. That way it does help out the channel. And of course, all of your support is greatly appreciated. And of course, appearing there on the screen will be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as notifications if you're on YouTube, of course. And I'll see all you guys right there behind the Galaxy camera next week.